And before getting into cassava farming, one very important thing that you must understand is site selection. What kind of site should you plant your cassava in? That is something that's very important. So if you stick with me to the end of this video, I'll be sharing with you what you should consider, factors you should consider before you venture into cassava farming. First factor you must consider in cassava farming is the soil type. What kind of soil do you plant your cassava? What kind of soil should you look for when you want to plant cassava? Now, no is clay soil or sandy soil. The appropriate soil that is recommended for cassava farming is the loamy soil, and this is very important because it has to balance between the ability to hold moisture and the ability to like retain organic properties in the soil. So the way you test whether the way you test what kind of soil it is that you are about to get venture into. If you take the soil from the ground and then you just mold it into a ball, and then if it just falls apart, if it doesn't mold into a ball, that is a sandy soil. But if you hold it and you mold it and then it just stick like that, it just becomes stuck. Even when you remove it and maybe you touch it, it doesn't falter, then that's clay soil. You don't want this kind of soil. You want the soil that is loamy soil, that when you take it and then you push it outside, it breaks away easily and little by little. So that's a loamy soil. You don't want to plant in a clay soil because clay soil can be waterlogged and it can choke your cassava and prevent it from growing properly. So loamy soil is very important. The appropriate soil that is recommended for cassava farming. Now the second factor you must consider is the drainage in that area where you are hoping to farm your cassava. What kind of drainage system is there? Is the place waterlogged or is not waterlogged? Just like I mentioned in the first factor that you should consider. Cassava doesn't want a waterlogged area. So if you visit it properly, you should visit it during the rainy season, and then you venture and then you look at the land. Rain has fallen, and then the water or the like water is still around the soil for a long time. It's not drying up or it's not going away. That means you don't want this kind of soil because cassava doesn't want a place that is too wet. You understand what I'm saying? So if you plant cassava, you don't want it to be waterlogged. You don't want the place to be, when rain falls, you don't want the place to be just flooded and things like that. Cassava doesn't want where it's waterlogged, so that's why we talk about we don't want clay soil. Now the next factor you must consider, very important factor that you must consider, is the soil history. What has been done in this soil before? What was planted in this land before? You don't want to plant your cassava in a place where they just planted cassava. Some people do it and then it still produces. At least I've seen some people do it like that and it worked for them. Back then when my dad used to farm cassava, he will farm cassava in a place and after a while he still plant it for a year, 2 times, 3 times before he moves to another place to follow. So it's very important for you not to farm your cassava for maximum and optimal productivity. You don't want to farm cassava after cassava has been planted in place because you don't want cassava mosaic virus. You don't want rot to be seen in your stem because diseases have been coming. I've been fighting diseases before, and then there's high tendency because those diseases are already used to cassava. They are already used to fighting cassava. So you plant cassava again, it's just like they're already used to that kind of crop. So you don't want a place that cassava has been planted previously, and also you don't want a place where heavy chemicals have been used recently. Any place that they have used heavy pesticides and chemicals there, you don't want those kind of soil. So always find out what kind of soil was what was planted here before. Soils that legumes were planted, like egusi, melon, beans, granules, those kind of soil are appropriate to take to plant your cassava after a while. So you've planted maize here before, you can venture into cassava. You've planted granules here before, you can venture into cassava. You've planted grains here before, you can venture into cassava. But if you've planted cassava there before for a year, 2 years, you don't want this kind of land. Find somewhere else. The next point, now the next thing that's very important is accessibility. Don't be a mumu. Don't go and plant where you cannot reach. And it's very easy for so many people, that's happened to me lots of times, to have hope, have a false hope or a delusion that yes, you have your ideas, you can bring a plane into the land and then the plane is going to bring your workers and then take your workers back and things like that. So those kind of things don't work. If this place is too far, if it's inside the bush, or you see that it's not motorable, there's no point taking that land, because even though you have 1 million hectares of cassava and then it's not motorable, there's no point. You don't have who to sell to. And in agriculture, in agribusiness, the first rule is that you must have who you sell to, you must have who you can sell to before you even start planting. So accessibility is very important. Check, will my laborers be able to get here? How quickly will they be able to get here? What is the ease of moving my produce out from this place? So can motor get in here? Can bike get in here? Can leg be used to enter to this place? So make sure you verify all those things before you even take any land for cassava farming. Now, the next point that is very important for you in site selection of cassava farming is land tenure and security. Is land tenure and security. Now, what do I mean by this? You don't want to plant cassava. Takes approximately 9 to 12 months to mature, and you don't want to spend your whole 10 months planting and catering and tendering for your cassava, and then at the end of the period where you're about to harvest, you're now in court, you're now settling police case and things like that, because somebody is saying you're farming on his land and the land doesn't belong to you, and then you have to forfeit whatever thing that you've planted there. So it's very important for you to, before you choose a site, let the person who is selling or renting that site to you, that land to you, have clear terms. What are the terms they are giving to me for this land? I'm taking this land for 2 years, I'm taking this land for 1 year. I'm not going to disturb me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to plant what I want to plant on this land. So make sure you have clear understanding, clear terms that has been put in place even before you venture into cassava farming. Ask the right question. Be sure that this person that is selling this land to you has the necessary documents. Ensure that this person is the rightful owner of that land and the land has not been sold before. And when you even rent this land, ensure that you start work immediately, because most people, when they see that you've not started your work, they will just easily rent the land to somebody else and without even refunding your money. So ensure that you have proper land tenure agreements and proper security put in place so that you don't end up in court. Now, another thing that's very important is you want a place that has vegetation but not too much tall trees. Cassava needs sunlight but not too much direct sunlight, right? So you want to plant cassava in an area where you can intercrop with things like corn, melon and things like that, so that although they will prevent too much direct sunlight, they don't block the cassava from total sunlight. You want photosynthesis to occur in your cassava farm. You want the cassava to breathe. So ensure that whatever place you are planting, or whatever land has been given to you, there is no much tall trees. You don't have tall trees or banga. You cannot plant cassava in where you have banga trees and things like that, because they block the sunlight. They block sunlight from coming to your cassava, and then hence your cassava farm cannot partake in photosynthesis and things like that. So you must ensure that whatever thing that you are planting, the cassava is, you can plant in open space. Just ensure that most times you do intercropping with maize or with corn or things like that. So now another good thing to put into consideration is the land size and the potential to expand that land you're farming in cassava. Very important, because when you start farming cassava, there's high tendency that you want to expand, or you want to do crop rotation, or allowing the land to fallow for a little bit. And you don't want to have, when you expand, you don't want to expand to a far region. You don't want to farm cassava here, farm cassava in Sokoto, farm cassava. All these things are just extra logistics costs that you don't want to incur. So you want to farm approximately in the same area. So it's very important for you to find out, can I expand this land? Let's say you started farming 1 acre, you've become a master of 1 acre. Can you expand to 2 acres still in that area that you are farming? So always find out what is the potential of this land to be expanded. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important for you to check what is the potential for you to expand your land, and then the security around that area is also very important. You know, when you want to rent a land, you find out from the indigenous or from the locals in that area. They will tell you that there are some areas where that are being disturbed by cattle. There's some areas that are not disturbed by cattle. So there are some areas where you can go and then you can farm peacefully. Your cassava produces at the right time for the period of time that it needs to mature. And there's some areas that from your first months that you started planting, goats have started disturbing your cassava farm, cattle have started disturbing your cassava farm, thieves have started disturbing your cassava farm. So always inquire about the security of that area. Check about the potential for that land to be expanded, to be able to plant more things in that land. So cassava, like I said, can be a very, very vital crop for you to venture into, but you just need to be very, very careful. Don't plant where the grasses are too strong for you to be able to prepare the land. Don't farm in areas that have security issues or land disputes. Don't farm in areas that have tall trees. Don't farm in areas where you don't have proper knowledge about. Also, very important is that when you are farming cassava, you want to farm in areas that have gentle or flat soil beds. You don't want to farm in areas that are very, very steep because of erosion. When rain falls, such water can easily erode those lands. And also, when you're farming cassava, it's very important for you to have, it's not a must. But if you are farming cassava during dry season, you want to have a nearby stream or river or a proper irrigation system so that you can easily water your crops, your cassava crops. Very, very important. So cassava has so many potentials for people who want to venture into processing, selling the tubers directly in tons to different companies, selling the peels, selling the stems for replanting, selling the leaves. So there's so many things that cassava can produce. So if you are thinking of venturing into cassava farming, ensure that you get the required knowledge, the right guidance that you need so that you don't end up making mistakes. If this is you and then you're interested in getting a proper guidance about how to get started in cash crop farming or agriculture in general, go to the description. There's a link there. Just download the Agro-kit. It's going to give you the ultimate Agro-kit that you need to succeed in cassava farming. So ensure that you click on the link, and I'll see you in the next video. Ensure that you like this video and you share this video, and then you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.